Folks, are you tired of people telling you your band is too loud when you're just trying to practice in your house or garage? Well, if you live in Austin, Texas, I have the solution for you. That's Space Rehearsal and Recording. Space is a state-of-the-art affordable venue for rehearsal and recording located just a few short miles south of downtown Austin. They have 31 spacious rooms, great PAs, and plenty of parking. And let me tell you something, that during this pandemic, they've taken some extreme safety measures. You bring your own microphones. There's a door to go in and a door to go out. There's safety practice. You don't linger in the hallways, all that stuff. Rent a room from them by calling them at 512-448-9518. That's 512-448-9518. Or go to spaceatx.com and start playing as loud as you want at Space Rehearsal and Recording. Let's get down. Gang, we all know Spotify is the best and most popular music streaming app. They have millions of songs by millions of artists available at your fingertips. But did you know that aside from millions of songs, Spotify also has thousands of podcasts? Yeah, all of your favorites are there, including Fresh Air, the Michelle Obama podcast, The Truth About Pam, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. They even have original podcasts like Stay Free, The Story of the Clash. It's actually narrated by Chuck D from Public Enemy. That's right. And How Did I Get Here is also on Spotify. So just go to Spotify.com or download the app from your app store. And don't forget to follow How Did I Get Here? That's Spotify. Millions of songs, thousands of podcasts. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right. Hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys all had a good weekend, whatever it is you did this weekend. I had a pretty mellow, laid-back weekend. Laid low. Did a show with Skyrocket, a live stream on Friday night from our friend Darren's house. It was great to get together and play again. That is the longest I've ever gone without playing with a band, at least since like 1989. So there was a lot of joy. I think we were all just so excited to be playing and playing together that one of the reviews I got was from my grandma, and she said that seemed like, I know it sounds funny, like my grandma loved it, but she did love it, and she loved it and said that we seemed happier and very excited to be there than we'd ever been. So I think that's probably true. We were all very excited to be playing together in a room. This has been fucking a weird year, and I'm glad it seems to be opening up. We're going to be playing a couple of live gigs this month in March. Can't believe it's already March, too. Man, 2020 and 2021 is like this weird smear. That's what it is, like a big smear of stuff. So, yeah, things are changing. Gang, I have a great show for you today. A great show. Yes, my dear friend and amazing artist, Jaimee Harris, returns to the show today. She has a brand new album coming out this Friday, March 5th. It's called The Congress House Sessions, recorded by my dear friend Mark Hallman, my mentor, and Andre Moran. Features Brian Patterson on guitar, Sammy P on the keys, Sammy Powell on piano, Ray Bonneville on harmonica, and Jane Ellen Bryant and Chris Nelson on backing vocals. Jaimee Harris is a dear friend of mine. We've been friends for about, I think, 4 or 5 years or something. And we met here in the scene, and she's done the show a few times. We ended up hitting it off as friends and hanging out, at times. And she sang on my last EP. We wrote a song together for my last EP called Everyone's Got Something. And I just love Jaimee, man. And she moved away a while back. She moved to Nashville with her girlfriend, Mary Gauthier, the great singer-songwriter, Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter. And I haven't seen her. So we were supposed to do this the week of Snowpocalypse. It ended up not happening. And so we ended up rescheduling for last Monday, and she was in Key West, which I was super jealous of because I was like, oh my God, look, you're in paradise. And here I was in Austin, a place that had been hit really hard by cold, snow, and freezing. Right? So this record, the Congress House Sessions, this is a sort of a reimagination of the songs from her debut album, Red Rescue, which came out last year, the year before, 2018 or 2019. I can't even remember now. But that record came out. It was produced by the great Craig Ross. And it's a different kind of production than what Jaimee presents when she plays a show. So this album, The Congress House Sessions, is a reimagination of those songs, basically focusing on her guitar and vocal performance and kind of dressing that a little bit on the side. Not a full-on, like, wall of sound, but like more of a delicate thing going on behind what Jaimee's doing with her guitar and her beautiful voice. What an amazing songwriter. What a great talent. And I was so thrilled to get to catch up with my dear friend, Jaimee Harris. Please enjoy our conversation right now. Let's get down.
Well, I never thought I'd find God here, full of nicotine and caffeine, shaking with fear, just praying for another day to stay in the clear. Well, I never thought I'd find God here. I never thought.
You're back at your house now?
Yeah, I'm back at my house. I came back on Friday. I was scared to come back here, man. That was, I know a lot of people had it a lot worse, but man, when it's 9 degrees outside and you got no power and you're in the dark and you got like a fifth of a candle left, it's weird, man.
Oh,
It was weird. Where are you now? You look like you know how like in the 70s, whenever they tried to make the future, they just made it all white. It looks like you're calling me from
like
A Clockwork Orange.
yes. We're in, so we've got a gig in Key West, like an outdoor live gig on Friday. And so we got out of Nashville like right before the snow hit and came down here.
That's excellent. Are you doing that tonight? Is that what you're doing?
No, I'm doing Folk Alliance.
Okay.
Folk Alliance is doing an online, and so I'm doing that tonight. But no, that's on Friday night.
So you're in Key West for the week. Mm-hmm. Oh man, what a great place that is.
Oh, it's so great. So sorry about the noise. We're in a hotel, and
Well, it looks fabulous. I know there's people out there probably just having an amazing time right now.
it has been raining today. So, but yeah, it's just so, it's like, you know, they're enforcing mask wearing here. Everything's already outside, like all the restaurants and stuff. So it just feels Nashville's a mess.
Really?
Oh my God.
I bet it's crazy there because there's a lot of people there that are not into, they feel that the mask is like you're trying to take their guns.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. Well, actually, I mean, Nashville is a Democratic city, but that whole Broadway area is kind of like 6th Street without all like exactly the same kind of history.
Right.
You know, so it's like all fake.
Right.
And people are going there mimicking a thing they saw on TV. So it's very weird.
Oh, from the show Nashville? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So how long has it been since you've been there? It's been a couple of years. It's been.
Yeah, it has. I can't even remember. I think maybe 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might have been the last time I saw. When did Red Rescue come out?
2018.
Oh, really? Oh, that might have been the last time I ever saw you.
Are you serious?
I think
a
so.
Water Lilies?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So this record, The Congress House Sessions, is beautiful, and it's 7 songs from that album, done in a different way. You still have accompaniment, but it's a little more stripped down. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about what made you choose to record them that way?
Absolutely, yeah. So basically, I went from, as you know, Johnny, having like a 7-piece band in Austin that played every week at 1-to-1. We did a bunch of gigs. It started as a 4-piece band and it grew into this really cool thing. And I feel like I learned how to do that, how to be a band leader, to be in front and like rock and roll and to like make a set out of that. And I went from doing that to pretty much immediately being a solo act opening for Mary Gauthier. And it scared the shit out of me because it felt like, and it kind of was the first time that I was really alone on stage with just me, my voice, and my guitar. And like when I started playing, I played in a duo with my dad. I was in a folk trio with Darwin Smith and Ellen O'Meara for a while called Five and Dime. And then I was in bands. And so I'm not used to being completely alone on stage with a guitar. And what it made me realize in that moment was, okay, all I have is my voice and my guitar. I think as a woman, and as I really wanted to be taken seriously, I still want to be taken very seriously as a songwriter. And so there's a lot of stuff that I can do with my voice that I don't put into my own songs, or a lot of parts, you know, that have been covered by other members of the band that now it's on me to make my guitar playing really solid so that it's very compelling. But I pretty much had a breakdown on tour because it felt really lonely, because I was very aware that this was an incredible opportunity to be playing these gigs all over the world, sold out venues all over the world. I mean, unbelievable. And how many times did I say, like, I kind of always had a feeling that one of my best shots would be to be a harmony singer with another artist and then open for them, right? Mm-hmm. That seems like a very common thing now, since it's harder to get a slot as an opening artist, right?
Right.
Not many venues do local support anymore. It's usually someone traveling with the artist, right? And there's no tour support like there was back in the day. So here I am doing the thing that I envisioned. And I know that so many people, so many artists would love to be in this position that I'm in. But so I felt like I couldn't complain about it, because it would seem like I wasn't grateful, which I was grateful for the opportunities, but it felt like here I am, I have this big moment and I totally suck. Like I'm still not ready for it. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I totally understand.
And so after a little while of doing that, and you know, I had to get broken down absolutely completely and started to rebuild, I decided that I wanted to capture these songs in that moment where I felt like I was really at the center of them.
Well, because there is that weird thing, and I've done this before, where I actually went and recorded like whatever my greatest hits would be in whatever year it was, just me and my guitar, just live performances of me doing it, because I was doing all these solo shows, and what was happening was all I had was these rock records, and people were like, whoa, do you have one that sounds like what I liked? Yeah.
Yeah, that was another motivating factor. Like we made this record 2 weeks before the world shut down with COVID. And so that was another thing too, is like, oh, I would love to have something that is more representative of what I'm doing now. Because if you see me alone with an acoustic guitar and then you get Red Rescue, you're like immediately hit in the face with like giant drums and like this crazy bass thing, you know, it's like a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this does.
And of course, I wanted to work with Mark. That was another motivating factor in making this record. I really wanted to work with Mark.
You guys did such a great job. I haven't seen anyone that's on. I did go see Mark the week before the freeze out. I went and hung out with him.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, you can hang out in their yard. It's all right.
Oh.
Yeah. So you went in and did this. Why did you choose, like, did you record more songs? Or basically, like, what I'm trying to get at is, like, what would make you do this instead of just a new record?
I felt like I wasn't ready. Actually, I knew I wasn't ready to make a new record. So part of it was a soul journey that I feel like I had to do. And then another part of it was definitely a business decision. Like I need to have two things at the table for people to buy. And it'd be really, you know, because now I'm going back into these markets we had before COVID, right? A whole year and a half of touring that got wiped off, this, you know, erased like everybody knows. I also got a deal for Red Rescue in the Netherlands. And so I had this idea to like, why don't we make a companion record, because Red Rescue was technically already released, and so it would make sense to have something else to kind of vibe up that market a little bit more. I knew I was going to have to go over there and do some touring, and so it seemed like a really great opportunity to work with Mark, to bring in my friends, to like just hang out in Austin for a few days. Like, I think my soul really wanted to like make music in that way. So that was definitely a big motivating factor. And then of course we got totally wiped off, the calendar. But we did experiment with recording some new songs. And what happened in that process was I realized, oh, the growth between these songs that I've written that were on Red Rescue and what I'm doing now is too far of a departure. So that actually motivated me, instead of using these 3 extra songs we recorded to tack on as kind of bonus tracks, it actually motivated me to go back in and work really hard on some material that I have that I don't want to say it was abandoned, but I have never worked so hard at editing in my songwriting process as I am right now. And doing those 3 songs and seeing that it was too much of a departure from the Congress House sessions made me go, oh, I am ready to make a new record. I just need to work on these songs some more.
Will you do it more in the vein of the Congress House sessions?
Yeah, I think so. What I'm looking at for this next record is a collection of songs that a lot of them kind of were born before I felt like I had enough life experience to finish them. I don't know if you've had that experience as a songwriter, but they came through and then I couldn't finish them. Or like there was one song that I ended up finishing with Graham Webber I was so judgmental in this song. Like I was just a complete asshole, and I had to live some more and be more removed and think about it in a different way. And so it's kind of a grief record, because a lot of these songs were born when like Jimmy was dying, when we lost Chris Porter, John Windsor. So I had a lot of grief in my brain. And of course, oh my gosh, now we're all living worldwide under this like cloud of grief and uncertainty. We're grieving the loss of our businesses as we knew it, as our lives as we knew it, connections of obviously the people that we've lost during the pandemic. So it's I'm kind of fortunate, I think, that these songs weren't finished earlier. It feels like they're all coming at a right time. And because of the nature of that record, it feels like once again, I need to be at the center of them, like Patty Griffin, 1,000 Kisses, or Ghost of Tom Joad, Bruce Springsteen. And that's what I'll be shooting for the next record.
Okay. Do you work on, like when you flush out these songs and you finally record them, do you just use it like a voice memo? Or do you like jump in GarageBand or some kind of program like that?
Well, I would say that my process has changed a little bit with that since the pandemic, because I have had some more time and just have been inspired to mess around with Logic. Our mutual friend Noelle Hampton hopped in and showed me some things, and that's been really fun and creative. She's
changed her whole trip, like hanging out. And what's going on?
I think I don't know if I'm going to turn the air conditioning off. I think it just turned on. I thought it was like a hurricane.
Well, the way you turned around, it was like there was the donkey about to jump in your room or something.
I thought for a second it sounded like a hurricane or something, but it's just the air conditioning, like a jet going off in this room. I'm sorry.
Dude, the way things are going weather-wise right now in the world, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a surprise hurricane that just popped up and no one knew was coming.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, yeah. So Noelle inspired me to do that for sure. But, I also think that something that made me record songs or be more committed to recording songs was I got in a car wreck almost 5 years ago. And I used to have this philosophy like, oh, if it's not, if I can't remember what the word was, or that line was, or the melody, if it's not that memorable, it probably shouldn't be in a song. So I wouldn't really write it down until I could fully remember it. Well, now I can't remember anything without writing it down. So, which has been great, because that's where a lot of these songs have kind of come from, these piles that have been, sitting around that are pulling at me to do something else. But I'm still pretty basic voice memo when I'm just in the process,
right?
I think. But I did have a lot of fun of experimenting with these, putting drums on them, and I'm trying to learn how to play lead guitar right now, and so that's been fun.
You keep saying that, but I have seen you throw down some bitchin' shreds, if you will, on lead guitar before.
Thank you.
Yeah,
working on it.
Yeah, you're playing with Mary on tour a lot on guitar.
Yeah, well, we normally have a violin viola player that plays with us as well. And so I've just been playing more support, but we did it like, I think the very last tour we did in 2019, he wasn't with us. And it felt kind of actually weird in that situation to not play guitar. Initially she was like, "Oh, you just do it. Like, you're just a guitar player now." I'm like, "Really, I'm not. I'm just a harmony singer." And she's like, "No, no, 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 you play guitar now." So she kind of just like dropped me in the grease, and I've figured it out as I've gone along. I do a lot of folk tricks that I've learned along the way, play nice chords with a capo on a different fret, just really basic stuff, but it seems to be working. I think my sensibilities are good enough that I can get by. I still don't think I would call myself like Mary Gaucher's guitar player or anything, but it's been fun to learn.
I would call you Mary Gaucher's shredder. You know what? I was on a gig with Brian last year.
Patterson?
Yeah, but he was real sick and couldn't do all of it. It was at one of those Sela and John Green XTC concerts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of these people in a long time. I'm looking at these names and I'm like, I remember Jane Ellen Bryant.
Yeah, me either.
So there's no one, you don't play with anyone in Nashville or anything?
It's been weird because I moved there and then we've just been on the road the whole time until the pandemic, which means I've been in Nashville for a year consistently, but I've just been in my house. So yeah, I haven't really found my musical people there yet. And I'm so emotionally attached to obviously everyone in Austin who's really been on this journey with me when there were 6 people coming to gigs and then they built it with me. And I'm pretty loyal to those folks. My vision would be to bring in Chris Nelson and Brian Patterson as, things allow me the opportunity to do so. But right now I'm in a position where I just have to be alone financially, realistically, logistically.
Yeah.
I just have to do it alone.
Yeah. Well, so you have a couple singles out. When this comes out, a couple of singles will be out, but this album comes out on March 5th. Are you going to do any kind of live stream or something for it, or making a video or anything?
I'm going to have a Zoom party on March 20th. And you can find tickets on my website. And I'm also giving the link out to everyone that is a member of my Patreon community, which is patreon.com/Jaimee Harris.
What do you do on your Patreon? Like, what all do you deliver on a regular level? I don't know if it's monthly or whatever.
Yeah, so I've given out like some of the songs that I tracked with Mark that didn't make this record.
Oh, cool.
One which was cool because Eliza Gilkison sang on it, which was really great. And
you didn't release it?
I didn't release it.
That's huge restraint. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, because I know you love her.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it. I know. I love her. I know. But Mark and I both went like, "What do you think?" Like, we didn't like. It's just not the right. It feels like the beginning of something else instead of being duct taped onto an older project. So that kind of thing. I've been doing some little YouTube covers. Like I did a David Halley song that I've always loved, and that's been really fun. I did "Calling in the Wilderness."
I love that song.
It's on that latest record. Oh my gosh. I love him. And I did "Don't You Think I Feel It Too," the David Ball song. I'm going to have covering some of my friends soon, like Betty, Sue, and Bonnie Whitmore and I did a show where we all covered each other's songs. So the outtakes from that I'll post on my Patreon community. And then they're the first to like know when I'm up to new projects, or they were the first to see, like there were some music videos that corresponded with this project. They were the first to see that. Just some behind the scenes writing. I think like I did a lot of that naturally on my social media, and I've kind of moved away from some of that, and I'm really sharing the deep stuff in Patreon, which is great because I think like in a way, a lot of the loneliness that I was experiencing, that I didn't feel comfortable enough to, and I wouldn't feel comfortable enough to share on social media. I think I know that I can share it with my patrons because here are people that believe in what I'm doing. They're a part of the journey. they're like in on this whole deal.
Right.
And I know I could safely share things there because I think one of the advantages that I have for Patreon is, as you know, I don't have a lot of recorded material. I barely have any. So, and not even cover videos or anything. I never really got into that whole scene. So this gives me a fun space to share it. And it's been fun. Like, I was talking to Hayes Carl about Patreon a couple years ago, and he said before he made his last record that he used it to try out different producers, which is also great. Try this song with this producer and release it. So I've done some of that too. Or, hey, like Brian Douglas Phillips, I moved to Austin basically because Brian Douglas Phillips moved to Austin. And it is insane that we've never worked together on a project. I've done a lot of harmony work for him, but he's never produced anything for me. So remotely, I did the thing that he does with Jacob Hildebrand and Fred Monahanu on drums, and he plays, and I've been singing remotely. And so that'll be released on Patreon. So stuff that doesn't belong necessarily on full-length projects, but I still am trying to experiment with for fun and just to grow as an artist.
Yeah, that's great. I also feel that when you share that shit on social media, and by that shit I mean your beautiful art. Well, I feel the same way for me, and throughout the Austin Music Foundation Artist Development Program thing. Sort of the key is to get off of that model of constantly. There is a way to get people that are interested, because I feel like 95% of the people aren't looking at anything really. You know what I'm saying? They're not really. They'll like it, and you think there's some kind of thing, but no one's connecting with it. And so just by the sheer need to have to pay every month, and you're not bombarded with Jaimee Harris every 5 minutes on Patreon, but you get a real thing. And since you're already invested in it, when you get that thing, you open it up and you get involved.
Right. Yeah, and it's been cool. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I've also figured out that on Patreon, it's not just me that feels comfortable sharing things that I maybe wouldn't share on social media. It's the comments too are a lot deeper. I had there's a woman that told me on Patreon, I've been using Snow White Knuckles in treatment centers for, years.
Seriously?
Thank you for pointing it out. And I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it feels safe for them too, to be open about how they respond to the music, what it means to them. Yeah. Which is beautiful.
Beautiful. I'm glad you brought up that song, because that song, there is, the weight of those songs is felt a little more now.
Yeah.
In this version of these songs.
Yeah, it's more intense.
Yes, it is. Yeah. There's an intensity to your songs.
Are you afraid of them?
No, I'm not afraid of them. Just like there's sometimes I'm jamming your stuff and I just want to hug you. On two ways, because you're so talented, and the other one like, oh, Jaimee, I love you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, for sure. It is more intense. I'm kind of an intense person. I'm an intense artist, I guess,
You are.
And that surprised, it surprised me too. Like, I think, sending it out to some people and their response to Damn Right, like, whoa. Because that to me is like one of the most obviously different tracks on the record, right? And people are like, whoa. I have a very different reaction hearing that song this way. And it kind of, I feel like immediately drops you into this experience of this is going to be an intense listening experience.
Yeah. And I know, when you went into this, you obviously had an idea, but what did Mark Hallman bring to it? Was he able to, did you say like, hey, I want to be able to, my guitar and vocal is the thing and minimal icing on the cake?
It's funny. I think we had a discussion about that. I'm pretty sure. I mean, one of the great things about Mark was just that, Mark came and saw us play so many times in Austin. Like, he was invested, in what I did. And he knows my voice probably better than just about anyone, because I've worked with him as a backup singer at Congress House, right? So I know, and I trust Mark completely. So I know if Mark is like, I know you can do better, Harris, like I'm going to believe him. And I love him so much that I want Mark to go for it. But I will say, we kind of went in, I don't think we tracked anything maybe more than 2 or 3 times. And the song that surprised me the most in the process was Creatures, actually, because I felt like that was something that we did in a stripped back setting a lot, because it makes sense, the 3 vocals right at the top.
Right.
When we listened back to it, it was like Mark, and here's what I love about Mark. Mark doesn't tell you, or at least my experience with Mark was that he didn't tell me. He empowered me as the artist to find the answer. He guided me there. So he would, and of course, I'm sure his expert brain already knew this isn't working. Let's see if she figures it out. And so we listen, and I'm like, this isn't working, is it? He goes, no, what would you try? And I really needed that experience of feeling like I really had a voice in the process. And it was just really empowering for me as an artist. Which I think that, of course, that trust has to be there too for me to, for Mark has to trust me as well as an artist, I think, to have that kind of relationship. But I thought that was really, really beautiful.
It's funny because even right now, the level of your professionalism and your artistry and your just musicianship is at such a level beyond the number of times you've gone into the studio to make a Jaimee Harris record, that it's weird because I'm always like, well, that didn't happen to you, the 1,000 other recordings you did, and you're like, oh wait, no, she's only done 2. Yeah, so that's weird. Well, that's usually the way it should go. I mean, that's what makes Hallman, that's why probably he's our sensei.
He is our sensei, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What a great thing. So was there anything like, I didn't A-B them like back to back. Is there anything you changed arrangement wise in any songs like ours?
Well, I think what was cool about this is that one brilliant thing that Craig Ross taught me that I think about a lot is we intentionally left out a lot of harmonies or changed the arrangements of a lot of harmonies for Red Rescue. Cause he said, well, think about all those records that you got to sing along with in the car, where you heard a part, but it wasn't on the record and it made you feel really involved in the music. He strategically thought that would be cool to do. And I was like, wow, I've never thought about it in that way. That's really fun. But there were things that I missed about, and of course, I'm sure just spending 2 years away from these people that I love that have sung with me and the band, like I wanted to capture this moment in time in a way in those harmony arrangements. And so, like Fake, there's a thing that we've done live where there's this like echo part, I Would Have Loved You, Honey, that we did not put on Red Rescue, which was the right call for Red Rescue, because for the arc of that record, it needs that really intense moment where the only thing happening is my voice. There's nothing around it.
Yeah.
That's what Red Rescue needed.
Right.
For this record, it made sense to have those harmonies there. And I'm really glad because I feel like people that came to the live shows really connected to a lot of those parts. And some people, I knew missed them from the record. And that's been such an interesting experience, having all this live experience, but not a lot of recording experience, and having to look at them as 2 different art forms. Is still so new to me and fascinating to me. Yeah,
it's weird.
I love that people love the harmony parts, and I loved them too. But it's like for Red Rescue, what the record needed and what the songs needed wasn't necessarily what I had created on stage.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. I don't know about that, leaving room for people to come up with their own harmonies. Well, it's like that'd be like if I was just making records for you and Mark Hallman, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what Mary said. Mary's like, "Who gives a shit?" I was like, "I don't know. I thought it was the cool point." Actually,
it sounds like a cool idea, but it doesn't seem like it's applicable in real life.
Maybe I can see. I grew up in a singing family, so I just imagine everyone It was funny. This is not related to anything we're talking about right now, but I realized like we were listening to Bonnie Raitt the other day because I had to hear Not the Only One. I just was stuck in my head. And I realized that's so weird. Like with all of these other records that I listen to, I always sing the harmony parts except for Bonnie Raitt records. For some reason, I always want to sing
The
what
lead
Bonnie's
parts?
singing. The lead parts, yeah. It's like the only records I don't harmonize to.
Do you know what? This is a good question. Do you hear music like that? Can you, when you hear a choral ensemble coming at you with a chord, can you pick out all of the notes with just your ears?
Nope. I totally can't.
So when you go in to sing on something, then you just go by what you hear?
Pretty much, yeah. I will, and I've learned some like more things about this during the pandemic because I've been singing on a lot of people's projects remotely, which is very cool. And in a way, I'm like, wow, I should have been set up with this technology a long time ago because it, like I've sung on stuff for, I just sang on something for a guy that lives in London the other day. It's like been really fun to participate in the process that way. But when left to my own devices, I won't stop. Like Mark is really good at like, that's a great idea. Why don't we try this? Or, okay, you've sung it enough. If it's just me in the cave, I want to try every part.
Right. It's all Bohemian Rhapsody by the time you're done with it.
And it's like not always the best thing to do. Like it's so helpful to have the guidance of a producer, Yeah.
It is interesting. I'm excited to always hear whatever's going to come out of you next because I think that whatever song is inside of you resonates with me very well. Like I don't think I've heard one of your songs where I was like, ew, like,
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
I miss seeing you with the band though in that thing that like, I don't know. I remember when I saw you, especially at 1-to-1 and like Kurt, you'd been playing there a while and stuff and you'd go there and there was this level of dynamics that you guys could achieve both quiet and there was this level of emotion that you would deliver and that they would, all sensitive musicians and listening to what you're doing would come at it like they knew when to get out of the way, they knew when to step up and stuff like I don't know. It's a pretty magical thing.
Yeah, I really miss that. And there's a lot and I really grieved it. I mean, initially, being alone that was really hard for me, not only because of the musicality of that show, but like the connections, there's some stuff that would be the same every night. And sometime I would look at, Brian and he would go on forever. I was just like, man, you're crushing it tonight. Keep going. Tonight we're going to have a 4-minute solo. Like I miss the spontaneity of that. And it was fun. I guess maybe last year was like a blur, maybe a year ago, I guess, or 2 years ago, technically. The band came and played with me at Americana Fest in Nashville.
I remember when that happened, yeah.
That was cool because a lot of people that saw me there had never seen me do that.
Right.
And when they saw that, they were like, oh my God, like this is what you do. Kind of like, this is where I'm comfortable. I love rocking. I love being a part of this whole thing. I totally. And so I feel like, this might sound a little bit crazy, but I mean, the songs that I have for this next record are just like stripped back grief songs, me very much at the center of it in the way where it's my voice and my guitar. And after this record, I want to sing my ass off. I kind of feel like with this, like this next project I'm doing is like very, like really laying the ground of me being a songwriter. Like there's not a single leak in any of these songs. I've worked really hard on them. They're like very intense, Townes Van Zandt. Not that I'm at the level of Townes Van Zandt by any means, but that kind of vibe, that intensity, that darkness. And after that, I'm like, I want to do something where I get to rock and like sing my ass off. And it's like a little bit lighter, Yeah. But that's my goal. But who knows, the songs that might enter my body may not be that, but my ultimate goal is to be able to, of course, play with the band and to have that experience. But it's been amazing for me to have to get stronger around this whole deal. It's really improved my songwriting.
That's great, though. Yeah.
I can't get away with shit. And it's also improved my, with the band song, like in between songs, I can have someone play a piano part, or John Green can do a drum thing that goes in. There's none of that in a folk show when it's just me. And I've learned, wow, it's really not interesting for anyone, for me, including myself, for me to talk about myself on stage in between songs. What can I do to tell a different story? What can I say?
That's great.
Here? Inspired me to tell other people's stories, or to like get behind the eyes of different narrators. Like a song that I feel is central to the next record is written from the perspective of a 17-year-old boy that works at Walmart that's knocked up his girlfriend. That kind of shit. It has like helped me expand and grow as a songwriter very quickly out of necessity.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's funny about that band, because it is your band. Now I'm remembering that the last time that I actually saw you play at a place was at that private thing, at that private place, Pershing.
Was it Western Youth?
It was with Western Youth, and you went up and you played with Western Youth, and it was really awesome. But it was awesome in the level that when Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers backed up Dylan, which I got to see 2 shows, it was really awesome, but that really wasn't his band. That was like the Heartbreakers jamming with, and it was cool to see, but there's something about your band that seems like they breathe with you a little more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I love collaborating with Western Youth because it is a different thing.
Yeah.
And it is so fun to sing with those dudes.
Yeah.
And I love them. Sammy Powell.
He played on the record. Yeah.
He played on the record, and he's, it's funny. I sent a lot of songs from this record to like Buddy Miller, and they were all like, producers that worked with Patty Griffin,
right.
Some hardcore folks in Nashville that I've just met that have made some of your favorite records. And they're all like, who is this piano player? Wherever he is. So I think it's like Western Youth has been great for that too, like really connecting with Sammy, and who also blows my mind. Like I remember being on a plane with him, and he finished a New York Times crossword in like 2 minutes. Like he's like a genius.
That's
in
upsetting.
a way that's like very awesome.
Yeah.
I love traveling with him, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. But I think that's a really fun partnership with Western Youth too.
Oh yeah. No. I feel like it could be its own thing, but there was, yeah.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that band they have a sound when they play together, and that's not bad. They should. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they play the shit out of your stuff. It's just there's a slight difference. It's not bad.
Totally, yeah. Man, that was fun also being at Americana Fest with them, because we did this Texas showcase outdoors. I can't remember what else was going on, but we just rocked. I mean, we like sang our asses off, and people in the crowd were like, yes, like real rock and roll, like no wimpy rock and roll. Like it's just about having a good time and like fighting the power. And yeah, I love being a part of that band. It's so fun.
Well,
there's a freedom.
Yeah, they're awesome. Can I tell you something on a personal note that might bring up a memory? I was just talking about you last night to somebody.
Okay.
I went to Perla's.
Okay. Did you go with Daisy?
No. Oh, that's who was with us. Okay, now I remember, because I knew there was somebody else, but I was like, I just remember because you ate like broccoli. And I ate like a dozen oysters. And I was like you don't drink or anything. And I'm like just shoving in oysters and like pounding vodka. And then you're like, hey, I got to go because I've got to meet someone for like a date or like a first date or something. And I was like, where are you going? And you're like, oh, I'm going to one-to-one bar. And I was like, can you give me a ride? Do you remember that? And you did.
I feel so bad. And hopefully I don't remember the date part, but I do remember Perla's.
You don't remember that? I was standing behind you and you looked back at one point and I was going,
no, I don't remember. But that's, oh my gosh.
That was very funny.
Sounds about right.
What's that?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. What else? What else is going on? You're going to be in. I can't believe you get to be there all week. What a lucky person.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's insane.
And with this workout thing that you're doing, are you doing it like you can do it remotely? Obviously.
Yeah, I've been doing this Camp Gladiator thing, and it's been
Camp
great.
Gladiator.
Yeah, a girl that I went to high school with posted a before and after picture like 8 months after she had a baby, and I was like, what are you doing? And she's a trainer with this Camp Gladiator thing, and I was working with a personal trainer right before the shutdown, and I was starting to make progress. But see, I've never really stuck to an intense workout schedule, but I've lost like 150 pounds. I used to weigh 300 pounds. So I've lost a significant amount of weight, but I've never really been fit. And I have this vision. I'm like, I really want, like, this is so stupid, but kind of like, or not stupid, but very specific thing. Like, I learned from touring, like, I want a uniform. I want like a badass suit. And I've never been able to tuck my shirt into my pants. Like, I know that sounds weird, but all of my weight's in my middle. So I was like, I'm going to start working out. And it's been great. It's been the only thing I've ever been able to stick to this long. And it's really good for my mental health because it makes me believe that I'm stronger than I am, you know?
I have to say, I mean, just in photos, like it really, like you're glowing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And it didn't change your nose, which is still one of my favorite noses in all of the world. It's true. It's such a good nose.
Did I ever send you that Cotton Patch Cafe commercial that I was in
No.
as a kid? Oh my, I have to send that to you.
Please do.
I was in a Cotton Patch Cafe commercial when I was 2 or 3, and that the whole ending is like, the Cotton Patch Cafe, we're putting on our apron for you, Cotton Patch, and then they ding my nose. The waitress like boops my nose.
No way.
Yeah.
See, they knew what was going on there. In Waco, they knew that?
I think that was in Nacogdoches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still, man, little town, they knew it.
They knew it.
Have you been able to see your family?
I haven't. I saw my brother once. I came down and did a Love and Light stream at the in
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah.
And my brother Robert is living in Austin and is in a great band there called the Irons. And we got to hang out social distanced for a little bit, but I have not seen my family.
How did you like that Love and Light stream?
I had a blast.
Yeah. I went to one of those.
It was kind of it was fun to see. Like, oh gosh, it's been forever since I've played. How is this going to go? Am I going to like step into it? And just to step on a stage and know that I still had it and was so hungry to play was really fun. You know, but of course, like I played with Brian Patterson and Sammy Powell, and I was like, no rehearsal. Like I'm not comfortable enough to do a rehearsal. So we just wung it, you know, and it was a lot of fun. And it was like not too long before the election, I think, or a couple months. And so I was able to do my folk singer thing and trying to get people registered to vote, you know.
Yeah.
Which is fun. But I think they're doing a great job at those.
I think so too, man. I think so too. I don't think that it was a financial windfall that they had hoped. But I think it was underwritten.
Yeah, I've seen that they've leveled up the artists now. It seems like they're getting a lot bigger names on the deal, which I don't know how that works. I think, you know, Guy Clark had this saying, you know, it's the second mouse that gets the cheese.
Yeah,
like, I think,
exactly.
And I kind of figured that's how it would be for that situation. Like, you have to have some artists that tell other artists, hey, I did this thing.
Right.
They treated us really well. You know, they were really safe. I felt very comfortable. It was totally pro. And then you have to have audience members that say, hey, I went to this thing. I felt very safe.
I talked about it a lot on here, about having done it, because it felt really safe, like as an audience member, and it was so easy to order stuff, and they just, you order it from your phone, and the guy just pulls up and hands you a bag, and everyone was wearing masks when they weren't in their little square, you know, and then you could be in your square with your buddies doing your own thing. That's
great. I didn't really hear a lot about the audience perspective, so that's cool to know that all that's going on.
Plenty of bathrooms, nice. Those nice porta potties with the ACs and stuff, the little trailers. I like those a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like those too.
Yeah, those are my favorite. They got water. You can wash your hands afterwards. It's not like stepping on some weird thing outside to pump water. So what else am I missing? I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that you'll be able to talk about at some point soon outside of this record, or at some point once you start getting your new stuff together. But the Congress House sessions, like, it's gorgeous, and I love your music. I just always want more. That's my only thing with you.
Well, hey, can I ask? This sucks. This sucks for me to ask this, but when is this podcast coming out?
Monday.
Okay. I was going to say I might be able to tell you something for your listeners, but I still have to hold it a little bit close to the chest. Okay. Because now I'm realizing that I know what you want to ask me.
Oh, what is it?
I thought I knew what you wanted to ask me. Maybe I don't know.
No.
You mean I can't read your mind anymore? It's been too long?
It's been too long. This is really sad. And I'm wearing glasses so you can't see my eyes and how I'm really feeling.
This is devastating.
I know it is. Man, I miss you so much.
I miss you too. This is unrelated, but can we talk about how great the Kathy Valentine book is?
Oh my God. Oh yeah, that's right. I saw you were, yes.
Reconnected us.
Here, listen to this. I have it in real book. I read it. I got it on Kindle and read it. And I've got the audio book because it's her telling you the stuff. And the music's in it. Because she wrote songs for some of the chapters.
Wow.
Yeah, how great is that book?
I've only briefly met her. I think she did an event that was really cool at the Townsend where she paired up like younger songwriters with like Jackie Vincent with Carolyn Wonderland, and Jane was involved.
Yeah.
So I only really briefly met her, and I have to say, if that book I read it in like a day. It blew me away. Her story is unbelievable. And I guess I didn't realize, because I never really got into the go-go thing. I didn't realize how, first of all, I didn't know that like Peter Case was like the boyfriend of someone in the band. Like, never knew that. His story is like, I keep learning things about Peter that blows my mind. But just that she was, that she had written those songs.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that she was like a songwriter. I didn't really know anything about her story other than when she moved back to Austin, everyone was so excited and because they loved her so much.
Yeah.
That's really all I knew about Kathy Valentine. And that book is so inspiring.
So inspiring.
Every woman that has been in any version of the music business needs to read it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. You know, there's one thing about the book about being close to somebody. I figured a lot of stuff about her made sense when I read the book.
That's wild. See, Mary just wrote a book.
Oh yeah?
It's coming out but I didn't want to read it until it was finished. So it was a pretty wild experience. Like when you know someone and you read their book and you're like,
right.
It made me love her. I already loved her so much. It made me love her 10 times more. It was oh my God, what you've been through and your ability to articulate it and to use it to help people is so incredible. And I feel like Kathy obviously is on that mission as well.
Yeah.
To be honest about what's happened in her life and to use it to help people, make them feel less alone.
That the book is not only is it like the other thing that was weird the whole time is that you're like, wow, I'm going to stop writing emails to her because she's an amazing writer and I don't want her. I mean, when she gets an email, she's like, this guy's an idiot. You know what I mean? She's a fucking great writer. Powerful writer. Yeah. Yeah. Did you see that the Go-Go's were nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, I didn't.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And this is one of those ones that's like, people are like, hello. You know, that record was the first record ever to be number one that was played and written by women. That had never happened.
See, I didn't know how breaking that was. I didn't know that they had like this, they were like more punk rock than I mean, to me, it was like, the Go-Go's. Like, of course, how the industry wanted us to see the Go-Go's. You know, I didn't know that. They were like these super badass, like hardcore intense, wrote all their own shit. Like, I just missed all of that history. Yeah. Which is like the bullshit. If it was, men that had done it, it would be still on the front page of the paper today. But because it's women, it's like, I didn't know this.
Yeah. I
I made like an idiot, but it was a cool discovery.
yeah.
You know?
Did you? So if you have Showtime, they have a documentary about them that just came out. That's really good and in depth, and you can kind of get the whole story through that. This podcast was brought to you by The Go-Go's.
Yeah. Thank you for putting me on the Kathy Valentine corner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that book is fantastic, and it really is like, we bear stuff as songwriters, and we talk about this stuff. To get that heavy and honest in print forever is pretty intense, man. Yeah.
Yeah. After watching someone do it, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because, it's like verses, I mean, it's like a song. I feel like with a song, of course, I don't know anything about writing books. So if you're an author, please don't judge me. But with a song, you kind of have an idea like, oh man, this line isn't right, right. And then when it's done, it's like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, you kind of know when it's right, when it's locked in. With a book, it's like you can write all this stuff and like, it's great. And then your editor goes, yeah, it's great. It totally doesn't go in the book though. Like, I feel like that's easier with a verse, or maybe even like this Boomerang Town song I wrote. I think I wrote like 15 verses or something crazy. I mean, I tried so many things with that song, and it was like, okay, yeah, I know you kill your darlings. You have to let go of this, but like thousands and thousands of words and hours. And you just have to go, thank you, goodbye. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's such a difficult art form.
Yeah. It's very intimidating to me.
So intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
When is Mary's book coming out?
July 6th.
Oh, wow. So soon.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'll read that, man. I've read some good books on the memoir tip lately.
Oh, cool.
There's a guy named Steve Lukather. He's from Toto, but he was a session guy in the 70s and 80s. His is a good story.
Wow. That's cool.
I love our stories, like the music people's stories. They're just good. I just like them. They're not always happy.
Yeah, usually.
I know. Yeah.
Usually not.
Yeah. So the Congress House sessions, let's get back to this really fast. This is going to be available on all the streaming services, all the things. Okay. Is there any kind of special like vinyl or CD for people?
Yeah, I have a CD, and right now I'm taking pre-orders on my website, and so I'll sign them for you. And I totally encourage you to get the artwork, because Sela did all of the artwork.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so my friend Brandon Aguilar came and took photos of the while we were in the Congress House, and Sela turned them into her really awesome artwork, which of course I wanted to keep Sela involved in the process, and I thought that was a fun way to do it. Sammy Powell's dog, Leo, is like on the CD, the physical CD.
Aww.
Which was fun. Yeah, so I totally recommend the physical. And Emily Shirley helped as well a lot with the layout and that kind of stuff. So team effort.
Yeah, totally team effort.
And I've got a lot of new merch on my website as well.
Okay.
I have a new logo designed by Felix Lenz from Lord Friday the 13th and
I
the
love
Lenz
him.
twins. Me too. He starred in the video, him and Sloan made
awesome.
a video for Creatures that's out now. That's really cool. He's a vampire.
They're amazing, by the way.
I
those
love
two.
them
Yeah.
so much. I love them. So they're just like, they're so outside of time.
Yeah. I had him do this poster for me, I guess in 2019, like right after I met them. Because he was like, oh, I do poster art for bands. And I was like, oh, you make me one? And he was like, yeah. And then he was like, did you see my stuff? And I was like, no, but I just talked to you for an hour. I'm pretty sure I'm going to love whatever you give me. You know what I mean? Like some people you just know they're going to be good, you know?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They both are. They're fancy people.
Fancy? Is that what you said?
I mean, they're fancy in like this glamorous kind of like underground punk rock
Exactly.
giants. I have a great photo of me standing in between them. That is pretty phenomenal.
I love that.
I look like I'm on my knees or something.
Sloan's made me some outfits for like festivals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
She made me like an outfit for the Woody Guthrie Festival, and she made me one for Kerrville, which
didn't happen
didn't happen because of the pandemic. But I just think they're so great, and I love their band.
I do too.
It's so creative. They're just original. Everything they do is totally original, and I think that's surprising in 2021.
Yeah, it really is. It's hard to do stuff. Well, Jaimee, you're an original. I think that you're they broke the mold after you kind of person. That's the truth. It sounds weird when I say it, but it's not disingenuous. I mean, it's so hard right now.
Like the Jello mold.
I don't know. That's what people say sometimes. Like the people come in molds, and like you were so good, they broke it afterwards so that there wouldn't be more, because the world would be too great of a place with too many of you in it.
Oh, that's really, thank you. That's sweet.
That was sweet and weird, but I do miss you.
That was sweet and weird. This is my favorite. I love that. That's right on my level. Sweet and weird.
Good.
I miss you too.
Yeah.
I really, really.
People can find you at JaimeeHarris.com. They can go to the Congress House, JaimeeHarris.com, and look up the Congress House sessions, which drops on the 5th, which is Friday. And they can see you do your Zoom party on March 20th. And I guess just keep up with you on the JaimeeHarris.com and find out when you'll be popping up places.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, the only tour that we have right now that's still on the books, I think, is in Texas.
Oh, good.
So we'll see if that plays.
When is that supposed to be?
In June. We have a date at the Cactus Cafe. We've got the Old Quarter as well. A really cool spot in Dallas that I hope we get to play called Cafe Momentum, where it's run by kids that have recently gotten out of the criminal justice system,
Awesome.
the juvie system, and they make all the food for the event and serve it. So it's like an alternative situation for them that seems really positive, and I really, really hope we get to play all of these shows. It would be incredible. If it would be amazing, actually, if like the first gigs back would be in Texas.
That would be rad.
Be
The
so
Cactus
stoked.
to me is the one place that could really, all you have to do is go outside the door of that back door.
Oh, right.
And face the PA out there, and you have a built-in stage, and everyone can be outside.
I didn't even think about that because it is, the steps.
It's not that, it's not doable. Yeah. Well, have fun in Key West. I
Thank
wish I was
you.
there. Do a lot of swimming. I can't tell you how great it is to see you. You look like you're feeling great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you really do. In photos
really
I've been
appreciate
seeing, I've been thinking that. And I guess we'll see each other at some point. We can stay in touch. I'll text you stuff.
Yeah, text me stuff. Send
Okay.
me books.
Yeah. Okay, I will. I'll send you suggestions
Okay, I
for
love
rock
that.
memoirs. And everyone can find you at JaimeeHarris.com. Pick up the Congress House sessions out March 5th. There are songs available now that you can hear. Go to Spotify or the places where you engage with music. All right. Thanks again. I love and miss you.
And I love and miss you as well.
I never thought I'd draw sober breath. I always thought I'd be a wreck.
The great Jaimee Harris. How I love her. What a great conversation. Always great getting to catch up with her. Hopefully we'll be hearing even more new music from her in this year. But the Congress House Sessions, her album that she did with Mark Hallman and Andre Moran, right over here at the Congress House in Austin, Texas, a place where I lived, comes out this Friday, February 5th. Go to JaimeeHarris.com to get involved with that. She's also going to be doing a Zoom party on March 20th, so you can get involved with that. I love her. Love Jaimee Harris. Always great catching up with her. Get out there and check out her album, Red Rescue. And you can hear her singles, Creatures and Snow White Knuckles, available now. You're actually hearing Snow White Knuckles in this show today. But you can go hear the whole thing on Spotify or wherever it is that you stream and download your jams. And gang, don't forget when you're out there checking out JaimeeHarris.com, you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher. All those places, new shows all the time. We're dropping 3 shows this week. It's Monday now. We got a show Wednesday. We got a show Friday. They're all coming, baby. They're all coming. So let's hear the rest of this beautiful song, Snow White Knuckles, from my dear friend Jaimee Harris, whose album, The Congress House Sessions, drops this Friday, March 5th. All right? Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. I'll talk to you on Wednesday. Let's get down.
But I gave up the cocaine, gave up the gin, freed myself of the hell I was in, asked the Lord to keep me clean again. And the Spirit came and picked me up, kissed me on the cheek and wished me luck, and told me I could call him a good friend, my good friend. Well, I never thought that I'd move on. Oh, but I'm getting used to sleeping alone. Just one flashlight and the book of John. Well, I never thought that I'd move on. But I gave up the heartbreak, gave up the man, freed myself of the hell I was in, asked the Lord to let me love again. And the Spirit came and picked me up, kissed me on the cheek and wished me luck, and told me I could call him a good friend, my good friend. Well, I never thought I could be free after all those nights in the DOC. I'm thankful God's forgiven me, 'cause I never thought I could be free. But I gave up the cocaine, gave up the gin, freed myself of the hell I was in, asked the Lord to keep me clean again. And the Spirit came and picked me up, kissed me on the cheek and wished me luck, told me I could call him a good friend, my good friend.